Pavuk, One Step to Web for Database Applications. Screencast 2, Pavuk Objects Overview. In this video, we're going to have a brief presentation on Pavuk Objects. This will be an introduction. Business Applications. Pavuk was created to build business applications in a time-efficient manner. Pavuk views information the way that users and business analysts view it. Traditional web development. In the traditional way, we have a separation of concerns. The separation of concerns is about labor, and it divides labor. Business analysts define the problems. Web designers build the user interfaces. PHP backend programmers link the web forms to the backend. DBAs define and maintain the various tables, and users who must live with the mistakes. The Analyst View. The Business Analyst View information elements as a matter of function. This may be a date, currency, person last name with special rules, gender, social security number, or other functional types. The DBAs View is sort of the reverse. DBAs are focused on column definitions of primitive data types, such as string, numeric, Boolean, or date time. The DBA's primary concern is storage efficiency. The web designer's view. In traditional development, the web designer must unify the functional view and rationalize it to the backend data store. This necessitates piles of code to be written, and to debug, and to test for functionality and for security. We have HTML, the markup that holds the forms, provides the skeleton framework, JavaScript for client-side automation such as transitions and interaction with the data stores, CSS for the visual styles, PHP and CGI to control data transfer to and from the user interface to the server. This is not time efficient. Hand coding applications is not time efficient. Multiple languages must be mastered. Work must be coordinated up and down the application stack. Revisions are onerous. Mastery of all the languages is challenging. Something completely different. Pavuk is a disruptive technology that changes the paradigm of application development. Pavuk enables business analysts to build, test, and refine the bulk of the application without writing code. To make this happen, we use Pavuk Objects. The Pavuk Object. It defines data in the way that analysts view it. It represents real-world information elements. It unifies the user interface and the backend database in one step. And it unifies data transported between disparate databases. And Pavuk objects are extensible. New objects can be added to the environment. Objects can be thought of as having a number of sections. We have the markup and user interface, data transport, validation, small set text value storage, the event API function chain, database storage, data visualization, and query processing. Markup and user interface. The Pavuk Objects markup and user interface properties include the HTML5 element definitions, the Kendo web widget configuration parameters, CSS class hooks, and in the future, Kendo UI mobile widget configuration for the smaller devices. Data transport. Pavuk objects define the JSON serialization and deserialization. Dates and times are particularly challenging because JSON does not specify a date construct. This confounds many web developers, and there are several approaches to deal with it. JavaScript dates are objects in the browser's local time zone. This is a problem because sometimes the table is being updated is in one time zone and the browser is in another. That has to be handled at the transport layer. Pavuk has one and only one JSON/AJAX endpoint and does not require coding of PHP or other content interfaces. Validation. User data is subject to validation and sanity checking. We have regular expression type pattern processing inside the objects, and bounds checking for numeric data. Pavuk has a concept of small set internal storage in its objects. These are for small sets where a foreign key or pivot would be overkill. Some examples of small set internal storage are male and female in the gender object, or the 24 or so nominal pipe sizes in a pipe size object. Small sets, exactly what they mean. Small pieces of data that are reusable and can be industry specific. The event API function chain. Function chains are sequential calls to the API programs. API function chains are triggered at various places inside the Pavuk environment: before serialization for output, after deserialization for input, and pre and post database updates. Dates, as an example, have both serialization and deserialization API programs. That's how we handle the JSON on the wire and the difference with the time zones. Database storage. The Pavuk object defines the value primitive type for the table for SQL stores. User input is type checked for input into the data store, and the appropriate conversion mechanisms are used based upon the type of database. Data visualization. Numeric currency and data objects can be projected into graphs using the Kendo UI data visualization components. Address objects are designed for GIS, that is Geospatial Information Systems, and can be linked to Google Maps and to other mapping systems. Query processing. Pavuk objects work with the schema that they are in to produce data dictionaries to use for query processing and QM tables. Objects contain properties to ensure proper construction of SQL select statements for the SQL tables. Pavuk has a number of standard objects, and we'll just list a few here. Text input, combo, which is text with a pivot, search, which is remote autocomplete pivot that works like a Google search, date, dollars, radio, checkboxes, yes and no single check, which is a Boolean, last name, gender, address, and there are many more. Extensible. The Pavuk object architecture can easily be extended. Pavuk Systems works with developers to add objects for their specific industries. Licensees may wish to add their own objects if they wish. Conclusion. Time is a scarce resource. Pavuk objects enable developers to build applications using tested components. Speed of development and reliability drive down development costs, which adds to the bottom line. Thank you for watching.